Breakfast companions, thank you so much for joining us on the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television. We're broadcasting live from our global headquarters in Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzon.
Indeed, welcome to your perfect day starter. Always remember, you are valued. Nigeria needs you. Your family needs you. So get up and go and achieve something. Welcome to the Morning Brief. I am Bukola Koka.
Thank you. I needed that. I'm very grateful.
God, you're always fired up.
I needed that.
But
thank you very much.
Thank you for the vote of confidence.
Welcome to the show. It's Thursday, January the 25th. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Just hold on and let's help you through the day. I'm Kayode Okikiodu.
Well, 6 more days. I keep counting it because of Kayode and the rest of you are very conscious of how soon January will end. But not to worry. January is ending pretty soon, and before you know, February will be here.
Yeah.
And February this year, is it 29 or 28 days now?
It should be the shorter one.
Okay, it should be the shorter one, like 28 days.
Or the longer one.
He's not sure.
I'm not sure.
So let's just check.
But I know there's February 14th.
Okay.
I'm very sure of that.
Why did we have to go there?
For obvious reasons. If no one celebrates, Kayode is going to celebrate February 14th.
Well, sure, a lot is happening around the world. You guys want to mess me up. Anyway,
okay.
Well, sure, a lot is happening around the world and around you. Our responsibility is to just pack it all right here on the show and bring as much perspective as possible. But one of the things we try to do is to make your breakfast or your morning as light and as exciting as possible. And we hope we're doing that to the best of our ability with most of the things we have lined up for you today. Hey, but here's what to expect on the show today. We will kick off with a bit of concern in terms of the high cost of medications in Nigeria. Well, when was the last time you actually visited a pharmacy? Well, if you haven't, just lucky you. But if you go to a pharmacy, you will realize that the cost is quite high. People battling with mild or severe health challenges is now being complicated by that astronomical rise in the price of the medication. Today on the show, we will speak to the expert to expatiate on what's driving cost of medication and its consequence on citizens' well-being and longevity.
Indeed, there's more besides the health sector. We're also going to be looking at the creatives. Nollywood is on the rise, but that thriving industry that has now broken the 1 billion naira box office record was arguably built from ground zero without government support. And now a new generation of talents have sprung up. But here's the big question. Is the future of Nollywood in safe hands? One of the poster boys of the successor generation joins us to provide answers.
I love that. But there's what to expect on the show. Again, sticking with creative industry, we explore Afrobeat's dominance on the global stage, examine the individuals at the vanguard of that big movement. Well, we'll be joined on the Morning Brief by two ladies who are making melodies, memories, money, and not MMM. They're making all of that in their respective right to sustain the voice of Africa. Then you see Libianca and Sheila joining us on the show.
And I'm sure you know who Libianca is when she comes to the show today. Oh, well, we will have you share your thoughts with us. That's what we do on the show. CTV Morning Brief on X as well as on WhatsApp. Okay, you don't do hashtag on WhatsApp, right? You don't do that. But on X, you do CTV Morning Brief. You can also send your thoughts as well on our WhatsApp. I will bring it to you right here. And that's how we amplify your voice. We always say that. So if you have videos that are newsworthy, please send them to us. We'll make sure you have your say on the show. That's our responsibility. It's all about you and us and everyone else talking about Nigeria and how to make it as exciting as possible. Hey, you're live on the Morning Brief. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take our top stories. Join us again. Top on the brief this morning, another fresh attack on the plateau has left 30 persons dead, mostly women and children. And Kwashaslala community in Mango local government area of that state is still in mourning as we speak. The attack was allegedly carried out by assailants, and according to the president of Nwagavo Development Association, Mr. Joseph Gwankat, it occurred on Tuesday night while residents assembled at a compound in the village as protective measure in observance of the curfew imposed by the government. Although the police confirmed the burning of a market and a worship center, it doesn't provide casualty figures. We're following that number, and the curfew imposed is still in place as security agencies continue surveillance activities. However, the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Mango LGA, alleges compromise by security agencies and religious coloration.
Muslims in our village, in our area, please, we need.
What is happening in Mango at this particular point in time? The military are the ones sending our people away to allow the militia to burn their houses. At this particular point in time, they have sent every Christian away from the new market, and thereby leaving the Muslim to come and burn their houses. They set the curfew. The curfew is restricted to only people within Mango, within the Christian domain. But in the Muslim domain, they are free to move and do whatever they wanted to do. And not only that, the military has killed 3 of our young men, in which I know one is before my own church. They killed one yesterday. And I reported to the security. He said that it was a fake soldiers. At first he said I was lying, until I proved to him beyond a doubt.
Well, we hope that the carnage going on in the plateau stops as quickly as possible. We have allegations, counter-allegations and all of that. But we hope the government does something as quickly as possible so our people stop dying. Let's move on now to Ondo politics, where things happened in quick succession in a matter of hours in the government house. First was Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa dissolving the state cabinet, which was followed by the nomination of a former deputy clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Olaide Adelami, as his deputy. Not long after forwarding Mr. Adelami's name to the State Assembly, he approved the appointment of Mr. Tayo Oluwatui as the secretary to the state government, a role he occupied under former Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. The governor also approved the appointment of Mr. Bayomi Olashonya as the chief protocol, and all appointment takes immediate effect. Let's head to the courts. The Federal High Court Abuja, where former Governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, has been arraigned on a 9-count charge bordering on alleged fraud to the tune of 4 billion naira, preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Charges he has denied. The counsel to the EFCC, Savannah Staha, says he has 14 witnesses ready to testify against the former governor, requested that he be remanded in custody of the EFCC. However, the presiding judge, Justice Nyakwa, adopted the administrative bail granted Mr. Obiano by the anti-graft agency, but maintains he remains within the FCT and his travel document is submitted to the court going forward. Away from that, as the president, Bola Tinubu, jets out to France on a private visit, the proposed relocation of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria final quarters and some departments of the central bank from Abuja to Lagos over operational reasons is causing unease in the polity. It has been faulted by Senator Ali Ndume as ill-advised with potential political consequence. And some persons are reported to say the president plans to move the FCT back to Lagos. In response, via a statement, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Nanuga, says the assertion is unfounded, the handiwork of mischief makers, and there is no such plan. He maintains that the status of Abuja as a federal capital has come to stay because it is backed by law. Now, the acute posture of Nigeria's insecurity challenges requires a comprehensive approach to resolving extremism and terrorism. That's the view of the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken during an exclusive interview with the chairman and CEO of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, while on a visit to Lagos. He believes that bridging trust deficit between security agencies and the civilian population, as well as closing economic gap, is crucial to stability.
Let's ask you to speak to us about U.S.-Nigeria security collaborations, especially in combating terrorism and regional stability, which are affecting economic and development efforts in Nigeria.
I think the challenge there is acute, and we can't minimize it, but we're also determined to proceed in partnership with Nigeria in meeting that challenge. Now, it has to be, and I believe it is, a comprehensive approach. Of course, there's the hard security part of this, and so things that we're doing in terms of building capacity in Nigeria among the security forces, the military, equipment, technology, intelligence, information sharing, All of those kinds of things are very important. But also important is taking a comprehensive approach if you're really going to be effective, for example, in dealing with extremism or terrorism. The relationship between security forces and the communities that they're supposed to be protecting is critically important. Making sure that the forces are there looking out for the people, not enabling or doing bad things to the people. That's hugely important. Making sure that we're also looking at some of the root causes that may be pushing people or driving people to take up crime or to engage in extremism or terrorism. That's very important too. And that means finding ways to create more opportunity for people throughout the country so that they can have and believe in a future, that they can put bread on the table for their families. Because if you can't do that, if you can't put bread on the table for your kids, you'll probably be willing to do anything in order to accomplish it. It's a long way of saying we have to have, and we do have, a comprehensive approach to this in partnership with the government and in partnership with local communities as well. But the more Nigeria succeeds in developing its economy, pursuing innovation, connecting people, and meeting some of the very serious challenges when it comes to health, when it comes to climate, when it comes to energy, when it comes to food security, those ultimately are the best ways to create the conditions in which extremism, criminality, terrorism doesn't grow.
Anthony Blinken, U.S. Secretary of State, in an exclusive interview with Chairman and CEO of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momoh. Let's now talk business. While the NGX hit historic high costs or high numbers of 100,000 mark at the close of business midweek, that much cannot be said of the Naira in recent times, and the central bank governor, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, believes the nation's currency is undervalued, but is optimistic that better days lie ahead as it projects for 2024. Dr. Cardoso was speaking at the launch of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group Macroeconomic Outlook, in which he participated virtually. According to him, the central bank is working with the fiscal authorities' forecast to grow the year's GDP at 3.76%.
Foremost among the factors contributing to this positive outlook is the expectation of improved crude oil prices and production, highlighting the crucial role the oil industry is expected to play in driving economic growth. Inflationary pressures are expected to decline in 2024 due to the CBN's inflation targeting policy, which aims to rein in inflation to 21.4%. This will be aided by improved agricultural productivity and the easing of global supply chain pressures. We believe that the Naira is currently undervalued, and coupled with coordinated measures on the fiscal side, we will expedite genuine price discovery in the near term. We are implementing a comprehensive strategy to improve liquidity in our FX markets in the short, medium, and long term. Our focus is on addressing fundamental issues that have hindered the effective operation of our markets over the years.
Well thought out then. Let's say again that the NGX appears to be on steroid. Those numbers are going off the roof. Let's head out to the international scene where Ukraine's military intelligence has accused Russia of deliberately putting the lives of the prisoners of war at risk. This comes after Moscow said Kyiv had downed the plane with 65 Ukrainians on board. The military transport plane crashed in Russia's southern Belgorod region near Ukraine. And according to Russia's Ministry of Defense, Ukraine's POWs were being flown into Belgorod for a prisoner exchange. And in sports, it's different stroke for different folks at the Africa Cup of Nations. While Tunisia have crashed out of the tournament after a goalless draw against South Africa in Group E, Super Eagles defender Bright Osai Sama believes Nigeria has a good chance of beating the indomitable Lions of Cameroon on Saturday in the round of 16. Nigeria and Cameroon have clashed 7 times at AFCON, with each team winning thrice and 1 draw.
Now it's knockouts, you know. So there's no 3 points now. It's either you win and you're through, or if you lose, you're out. So we know that comes with pressure. But like I said, I think if you look at in our group, we have players with vast experience, players that can thrive in this situation. So I think if you look around the group, everyone's confident. Everyone's looking forward to the game. Me, myself. And, Cameroon are a very strong team. They've got good players. But like I said, I think if we focus on ourselves and look at what we can do and how we can hurt them, then I think we have a very good chance of winning the game.
So we're all looking out for that encounter on Saturday, hoping that the Indomitable will be defeated by the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Guys, let me call my my co-anchors, Bukola and, of course, Kayode. I don't know what stood out for you. It's a lot, lots of stories coming in from around the country and even on the international scene, but I don't know what stood out for you before I jump into some of the things people are saying on X and on WhatsApp. Well,
Jeffrey, it's not far-fetched. It's carnage on the plateau, and that very, very worrying revelation made by that gentleman from Plateau State who says that security agents, who alleged the security agents are the ones enabling the displacement of their own people, and in fact, when he reported, he was doubted. That takes us back to weeks ago when youths protested and alleging bias by security agents, particularly with the arrest of their own people and the letting off of the Fulani in Plateau State. So, and these allegations are age-long, by the way, so they should be looked into. We're going to finish this conversation and move on, but security on the plateau, particularly for indigents, remains a thorny issue.
Absolutely. So, when the government declared a curfew in Mangu local government area, what was said was as a result of the fighting, the tensions, the attacks between those ethnic groups. So the cause, I think, is quite clear. We're aware of that, and I think what we're still trying to figure out, which again people have said shouldn't be far-fetched, is handling the security situation on the plateau. By the way, there's been a lot said about that on social media. That's one of the biggest trending topics, because just late December, we had to grapple with the death of almost 100 people.
No, almost 200 actually.
Oh, sorry, over 100 people. That's almost 200 people on the plateau. Thank you very much, Chef. And now January is barely over, and it looks like it's still continuing. This is a situation that you see some of those communities. It's just heartbreaking. Imagine having to leave. So
I think that's the market that was burnt, or the church. One of them that the police confirmed. A church was burnt, and a market was also set on fire. So that's the situation in Mangu, and this is the surveillance of the military, or the police rather, or the combined team of police and the military trying to ensure that security is restored or order is restored. There's 24 hours curfew, by the way, to ensure that.
It leaves much to be desired that these people are impenetrable, that they cannot be arrested. They're not spirits. We say time and again that those who perpetrate, crimes and criminality in any part of the country, they can be caught. They can absolutely be caught. So, and if the governor says, look, they've gone after them, and he says that some of them have held communities for a long time, particularly schools, 67 to be precise. So that means that we know where they are. Security agents know where they are. So we should ask questions of security agents about why they're unable to go into these communities and arrest those who are criminals, who are perpetrating criminality on the plateau.
All right, there's a lot of people are saying, guys, so we may just jump to the tweet. The post on X, Adaehi is saying it will be a sin against God and humanity to stay silent about Plateau State. God forbid that we'll be quiet and let evil prevail. Blood is being shed on the land. It's an abomination and an outrage. Good people of Plateau State of Nigeria, God has seen your affliction. That's coming from Adaehi on X. Bukola.
Well, this one is from El Bruzier. El Bruzier says, can't we just live in peace? Can't we live and let others live? Why are humans so complicated?
It's just mind-boggling, really. And yes, we can talk about providence a lot, but a lot has been given to us as human beings to ensure that we find solutions to this thing. So I don't want everybody to now sit back and say, oh, we'll wait for God and all of that. We need to take action. And that's, of course, talking about what Adaehi said is important. Take a look at what Vin Anderson 5 said about this one. It says, we are tired of this highlighted maps of northern states and the death of citizens. can't we put a permanent stop to this killings? That's from Vin Anderson 5. Can also take it has been the same story for years. What's the meaning of this? Vin Anderson 5.
This coming from Malam Jebber. The ongoing killings in Plateau State is highly condemnable in all ramifications. Those that are killing the innocent people in the name of religion are nothing but criminals. Both Islam and Christianity are vehemently against such acts without any justification. So he's saying you can't kill in the name of God.
True. This one is from The Time Is Now. He says, or they say, killings go against the fundamental principles of human rights and peace. We just want the killings to end for a better Plateau.
Take a look at this next one from Kau Garba. This is a big conversation, obviously, and says, what is happening in Plateau State is depressing. And you can say that again. I mean, there are videos that we can't even show on air, depressing, gory videos. Goes to say, I don't know why the security operatives deployed are not doing their jobs of protecting the lives and property of the citizens. Naturally, the buck stops at the table of government and security agencies. So you'll understand why questions again are being asked of the security agencies.
Yeah, the truth is that this has to stop, one way or the other. If you're a governor, you're a president, whatever role you take on as a public official, always cite Section 14, subsection 2B. Even if you don't say you're going to do anything, the Constitution has provided what you must do at the basic level. Protection of lives and property, welfare of citizens is the fundamental responsibility of government. So we hope that the security agencies will rise to the occasion. But we'll move on to some of the things you're saying. Kayode, maybe you take this one.
Yeah, Maitama has also been trending, and you're just wondering what is going on again. But let's give you the backstory. This particular post by Josie Daniking, that's the PPR for the FCT, said that explosion in Maitama, not bomb-related. In fact, said the alleged explosion in Maitama, as the nation's capital, not bomb-related. Says it's the result of overheated refuse bins. So news started filtering in. People wondering, I heard this sound in Maitama. Is this another bomb explosion? Is this what happened in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital? What is going on? So this statement was put out yesterday, saying the FCT Police Command is urging members of the public to exercise caution and refrain from using metal refuse bins. Instead, we recommend the use of plastic and rubber containers for waste disposal. So, as you'll expect, there have been reactions to that particular post from the FCT PPRO.
Well, Mayor is raising eyebrow. Perhaps he's a resident in Abuja, but he says, how overheated refuse bin will spark fire? I need the chemistry formulation on this, please.
I mean, I'm not EOD or anything, but you've seen on some of the canisters of the insecticides, essentially canned aerosols and the rest. They always tell you that they're highly flammable. So and there are other things, so dispose properly. And they'll tell you, do not burn. It's actually written there. So there are a lot of things that can actually catch fire if not disposed properly. Hey, I'm not part of the explosive ordinance disposal unit. Just saying.
But again, it speaks to how traumatized our citizens are. That is the truth. People are traumatized. So sometimes this response is just as a result of trauma. Because when you hear it's happening in Ibadan, people are being killed in the plateau. Anything that happens around you, even if it's your gas or something just falls off in your house and it sounds funny, it may just traumatize that individual. This is coming from Mayor. No, okay, this is Emir of Canada. That's very Emir of Canada. Some said it was from empty gas cylinders found at the refuse dump that sounded so hilarious, and it did dash. Like, who would throw away gas cylinders in this hard economy? Thank God for this update you just gave us now. Okay. Okay.
Well, more skepticism. I just look forward to a day that the trust deficit will be closed a bit. Because 7th Soul 01 says, and this I had to say it in pidgin, so for effect, I imagine. Now, for Nigeria, refuse bin, they explode again. There's nothing that can't happen in Nigeria. Don't forget, we already gave the background. Things actually explode. It's now responding to the tweet by the PPRO saying, stop playing with our intelligence. If at all refuse bin will explode, give us a plausible factor that could cause explosion. The heat, saying that this is not flying. But again, as we said, I mean, explanations will be given. Sometimes you might not accept it, but I mean, sometimes they are actually just logical.
You know, again, Kadi, it speaks to the low trust quotient, you know, between the citizens and the people. So whether it's an explanation about the number of deaths, the people always disbelieve whatever the government presents and would rather go with what the people present. And, you know, that goes to a lot of other issues. So we hope that the authorities are listening by proxy or directly.
They should fix up, right?
Yeah, fix up. And this one is coming from Stanley Ezinna, I believe. And he says, first it was Ibadan, now it's Maitama. Nigeria is suffering from IED, intermittent explosion disorder.
Oh my God.
God.
Come on, man.
Come on, Stanley.
Come on. Have some faith in the country. Just take it easy.
See how
come on.
disillusionment is producing creativity.
So IED means something else.
Yeah, but that's not the full. For the children watching, you're on your way to school, maybe your daddy turned on your device to watch Channels Television's morning brief. This is not the meaning of IED.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Well, this is not the generally acceptable
meaning.
But Stanley is being creative.
But Stanley is being creative here, so...
Guess what, guys? I saw this. Someone was saying there are lots of creative ideas. He's beaming with ideas. It was Senator, the comedian. He put up a post saying he's brimming with creative ideas. In fact, he has a lot of business ideas. One of the things he's planning to start this year is a police station. And I'm like, come on, Senator, come off it. So people said, look, IGP, that's Instagram police, instead of the normal IGP that we're used to. So it just talks about the creativity that Nigeria.
So the IGP of the Citizens Police. Instagram police.
So for the kids and the young ones, improvised explosive device. That's the actual generally accepted ones. Improvised explosive device. Not intermittent explosion disorder. This is creativity. Okay. Very important. Let's move on now to other stories. Well, Ondo State was quite busy yesterday. Governor Ayedatiwa did a lot of changes, you know. A lot of things happened. He dissolved the cabinet, sent the name of his deputy, and then appointed SSG chief protocol and all of that. So people have been reacting to that. The Observer says to work for government now, wow, person go just enter office, sack, you will not do anything. How do I interpret that?
What is Nawao in English?
I don't know. Okay, maybe just to put it in context, they call it, is it job security or security of tenure in management? So more like, I have seen an IGP, while he was on an official assignment in the Southeast, they announced his replacement in Abuja. It happens. That's how it works. So,
well, a bit of backstory to this. Even while the governor was acting governor before the demise of Governor Akeredolu, there had been resignations, you know, prior to this time. So it's only expected that, you know, following a transition, there will be, you know, change in cabinet offices.
But the SSG was lucky to get the job again, because it's been SSG before, under the former government.
And then now the proposed deputy governor was clerk in the national. Deputy clerk, rather.
The national.
It's quite interesting because we've had someone who was nominated, was going for screening at the National Assembly, and the person's name was withdrawn.
So the person was at the National Assembly.
Exactly, for the screening, and the person's name was withdrawn. So we've had all of these cases, but take a look at what other people are saying. Ralph the Great says he will definitely have to bring in his own personal people that can work with him. To all politicians in Nigeria, it's all about personal interest, nothing like continuity of the previous interests. Well, all politicians, Ralph, we need to see your data. Show us some data.
Okay, very quickly, this one is from Omwaki, and he says, I believe, put Gini for their mind.
Gini.
So
both of you are owing us explanations. Jeff, now wow, you need to translate it.
Oh, Kanye. I knew you were going to go there. Well, let them go home and reason all their moves whilst you are advised. Kala Soju for who know make your work come out for Ondo State.
These are street slangs. You need to be deep in the streets.
Is it in Ibadan or Akure slang?
Guys, you need to spend more time in the streets. Obviously.
No, I know my own street slang, but I'm not familiar with this particular one.
Gini is
it an Ibadan thing or
under pressure? Okay. Kala Sonju. Director, do you want to help me out with that?
Gini.
Okay. So kind of, but also street smart after all.
Kala surgery is like shine your eye, you know.
Shine your eye.
Yeah, like
okay. Thank you. We learned something today.
Okay, now wow means wow.
It doesn't mean wow, Jeffrey. Now
wow means wow. Okay. Yeah, it goes. Now wow means wow. For our international audience, now wow in Nigeria means wow. Whatever wow means in your country means wow.
Oh, it's negative wow, not necessarily positive.
Okay, more like now wow, that kind of. All right, this is from BY saying Baba wants re-election of this 8-year term, so he has to form his own people, and place them in places that would best serve his interest. All right, so he's a politician. He's allowed to make political moves as well. That's
pretty much all we can take for now, but keep those comments coming in. Hashtag CTV Morning Brief, and of course on WhatsApp. We have such a lineup for you. We'll talk about the rising costs of medications. We'll bring in Libianca on the show. You know that song, right? You know that song.
I've been.
Yes, you will get to hear that song. Libianca and Sheila will be joining us.
I didn't say it.
As well as Baaj. So it's such a lineup for you on the show this morning, guys.
It's a bumper package. Stay with us. We'll be right back to unfold them.
Welcome back to Still the Morning Brief. A few days ago, I was in the office and someone walked up to me and said, I bought this particular drug. I used to buy it for less than 20,000. I just went to purchase it now. It's about 56,000. The cost of medication in Nigeria is off the roof, and it's quite disturbing. We've seen pharmaceutical companies leave the country due to many reasons they give, including the very difficult business environment. But beyond that, is affecting citizens, and it may affect the well-being of a lot of people. People can no longer sustain just keeping up with their health, as well as it may eventually affect how long they will live as individuals. And it's a great concern for everyone, which is why we are having that conversation about the high cost of medication in Nigeria today on the show. So it's going to be a good time for you to be part of it. So on X and on WhatsApp, please send your thoughts as well as your comment, and we're going to read them as we proceed in the conversation. We're being joined from our Abuja studio by the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Professor Cyril Osifo, who is joining us from our Abuja studio. Professor, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Prof, maybe I just gave a little analogy or what I encountered the other day right here in the office about the cost of drugs. And I know that there are a gamut of reasons or issues around this. But from your perspective as an industry player, my natural question will be, what exactly is going on?
Well, before I continue, let me quickly say that my heart, and indeed the hearts of all the pharmacists, go out with our citizenry who have been macheted or have lost their lives in the Plateau and other places in Nigeria. We sympathize and we hope this carnage will stop. Having said that, pharmacists are very, very disturbed about high costs of drugs. In fact, medicine security is an integral part of our practice. We are all part and parcel of what happened during the pandemic. And if you don't have adequate medicine supply, and if the citizenry, the vulnerable, and those who can hardly afford their meals get adequate medicines at the right time in the right dose, things become very difficult. The environment has also not been very friendly, and that's why we've had one or two multinationals leaving the country. But be that as it may be, I also want to say quickly that we need to look into ourselves. The prescribing and dispensing of medicine need to follow the national drug policy. We need to prescribe generic in favor of branded products. that are definitely more expensive. And there are other reasons one can argue. We don't produce most of our active pharmaceutical ingredients, the APIs, and the facilities for doing so is just beginning to come on board. Enzo Pharmaceuticals, for example, have started, but then we need more because we have the capacity, we have the wherewithal, but government have to be involved in producing this, especially with our petrochemicals. At the end of the day, we'll be a major supplier of these important API, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, not only in Nigeria, but to the West African sub-region, and indeed Africa, and could be a foreign exchange earner for the country.
Well, Prof, I'd like you to walk us through some of those drugs that have now become very expensive and beyond the reach of those who need them. And perhaps I could just give you a bit of a lead. Some category of antibiotics that used to be, well within the range of 2,000 naira, they're now said to be about 8,000 naira. What's the fate of diabetic patients? Patients of kidney disease, patients of cancer-related disease, and perhaps you could also talk to us about, the cost range of their medications following this increasing cost of pharmaceutical products.
You are quite right. The cost of pharmaceuticals. Medicines have actually gone up. This is not unconnected with what the prevailing situation in the country. The industry player falls into the same fate like many entrepreneurs. Like I mentioned earlier, most of the ingredients for compounding medicines are actually imported. So you are faced with this situation of getting the necessary foreign exchange to import these important ingredients to formulate your product. And of course, if you buy from the same market and the exchange rate of the naira to $1, for example, is skyrocketing every day, that definitely will affect the price of medicines. Additionally, we also have basic infrastructure. I call them basic. Energy is a problem. Most industry players have to get their own water. They have to produce their own energy, electricity. And most of their plants run 24/7, and they have to buy diesel at high prices. Additionally, we also have, dearth of pharmacists to man some of these centers. The so-called Japa syndrome has also affected the pharmaceutical industry, where many pharmacists live day in, day out of the country for greener pastures. Additionally, we also find out that road infrastructure is also problematic. I visited Abara, and I found out that though the companies there have products and they are doing their work effectively, but by the time they get their raw materials or evacuate the medicines to where they are needed, most of their trucks break down on the road because the road is in a terrible state. Now, we pay most of the time out of pocket for medicines in this country, and that is not good for the average Nigerian. I believe the National Health should come in. Insurance agency should be able to, we should fast track that, especially with the implementation stage. Right. And I must commend the coordinating Minister of Health for bringing that to bear. We talk about implementation so that the average Nigerian can participate and get medication that's lower cost.
And that's a very important point you have made. The average Nigerian be able to get access to medication. People have said if you're falling ill at this time, this is the wrong time to fall ill or to go to the hospital or go to the pharmacy. And I'm sure you've seen people say that. So a lot of people are wondering, what would I do? Do I seek alternative medication and the rest? But, the question is, and that ties to what Bukola and Jeffrey have asked. And you had earlier said that, you know, prescription and dispensing of drugs should follow the national policy. You said that we should stick more with generic rather than brand. So are you saying that some people, when they prescribe medications and dispense, they choose to give people the expensive brands? Are you saying that they're actually drugs that are within our reach? Because we know that it's also a business at the end of the day. So are you saying that there's actually a push for these expensive drugs to be the ones that are right there in the front of people and they are cheaper alternatives? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe strongly that the national drug policy should be adhered to, and I'm confident that the coordinating minister will also push for the implementation of that. You can't compare the price of generic that are as active as the branded to the branded. Some individuals like the branded, but I think for affordability, we should look at generics. And when you carry out what we call bioavailability studies and bioequivalence studies, they have the same potency. And I'm sure when our dispensing pharmacists and our prescribing physicians adhere to these, that will bring down the cost of treatment, and that probably will help us. I'm sure the National Health Insurance will advocate for generics and not necessarily branded products.
I wanted to find out what conversation the association is having with government as an immediate intervention, because sickness or diseases will not take a break because drugs prices are high. So is there a conversation going on between the association and every stakeholder involved to see what can be done, because the shock is quite high?
Yeah, there are conversations going on. I've had the opportunity of engaging the Honorable Minister of Health and coordinating the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Welfare. And one of the things I must commend the government for is restoring funding to regulatory agency. This is one way forward of making sure that not only do we have drugs that are effective, we also prevent fake and substandard drugs from coming into our environment. I want to quickly say here that apart from the high cost, when medicines are high, people tend to look for lower ones or lower costs, and they may fall into the hands of buying fake and substandard drugs. And NAFDAC have been working very well in this regard. But I must tell you that drugs can be, or medicine can be made in other countries, and if the borders are not well policed, they find their way into the country and becomes a problem for us. And treatment outcome becomes a terrible thing. And this is one of the frustrations the physicians have in their clinics when medications are given and they are not effective. I think together with the funding, they should be able to police. And I also hope that the fake and the bill on fake and adulterated medicine act will be properly revised such that NAFDAC and the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria can work together, and they'll be properly and adequately followed up with necessary security, because people who do these things are well militarized in their own way. And I'm confident that when we have that, things will become better. But at the same time, I also believe that there must be that close network within the health sector. It's a family to be able to approach these things we are talking about. And I'm confident that even in the federal institutions, where tertiary institutions, we will be able to follow up all these medications appropriately. Let me quickly say here that if the primary healthcare sector is well straightened, like the coordinating minister is saying, that would actually forestall some of these diseases climbing up to become, because it's more difficult when these things degenerate and you have to go to the hospitals, especially tertiary hospitals, for treatment.
You're quite correct, Prof, and that speaks to promotion of preventive healthcare rather than curative healthcare. You talked earlier about generic drugs versus branded drugs. I'd like you to provide a bit of education there. Do generic drugs run through the category of healthcare conditions that affect Nigerians generally. I hope you catch my drift. Then in terms of intervention, Prof, I don't know what your engagements are with the federal government, but can there be applications to the government to the extent that they can provide foreign exchange intervention to importers of pharmaceutical products, such that, because it's a critical sector that affects public health, particularly, for those who are facing terminal health conditions?
I agree with you. The branded product we call innovators product. These are products that the people that probably brought the drug to the market, and a timeline is normally given for them to recoup the funds they have committed in providing this innovators product. And now when the time is passed, other people have the possibility of making the same drug. And in fact, as one of the specialties of pharmacists, that's my area of specialization. Having, for example, engaged in some synthetic pathway of losartan, which is an antihypertensive outside this country, and we found cheaper way. And at the end of the day, you provide this compound. They are not innovators product, it's the branded product. They are generics. And as generics, you must compare them with innovators product. And before it comes to the market, it follows all the necessary procedures and the R&D such that it can be substituted for the branded product. We are saying that federal government has said that as much as possible, prescribe generic products. That will bring the cost of drugs down. Now, concerning government, we've engaged government, and we are still engaging government, and we still intend to engage government in the next few weeks. And I probably would plead with you to be a little bit patient, and so some of the engagements that will come up in the next 1 or 2 weeks will unfold better things that will make the cost of drugs come down.
Okay.
I have confidence in that, yeah.
All right, so 2 things I heard from what you said. Well, more than 2 things, but when you talk about prescription, the physicians prescribe, the doctors prescribe, and then you talked about dispensing. The pharmacists, they dispense. So obviously you're saying the doctors should be, I don't know, more circumspect, as well as the pharmacist in their prescription and dispensing. But help us as we wind down, Prof. I go to the hospital, I get a prescription, naturally, and then I go to the pharmacy, and the drug that has been prescribed to me is what was given to me, something I bought for 15,000 or 10,000 naira some months back. Now it's 50,000, either an antibiotic, inhaler, or even a painkiller, as simple as a painkiller. What do I do? And I have that, they will say I rejected that, but I'm going through pains at that moment. So what do I do as a person? Do I seek alternatives that was not prescribed for me? Or what exactly do I do? Let's help Nigerians this morning.
No, what you do, like I said, there needs to be a discussion, a conversation with the health team. If the physician prescribes and the pharmacist gets the prescription to dispense, I'm sure the pharmacist should be able to talk with the physician if there's an alternative, a generic product different from what he has prescribed. And then both of them can send the patient back to the physician after the conversation, and they can change the prescription.
But as a patient, can I do that as a patient, Prof? Pardon me. So are you saying as a patient, I should go back to my doctor and say, you need to prescribe something cheaper?
Yes, you can. You can. The patient must be involved in the total health care. In fact, the patient should know what drugs are given to him. The patient should be able to complain. The patient should be able to tell you how he feels. The patient should be able to also let you know his financial position. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Why would I get a prescription for a drug I cannot afford? I think the patient, other members of the health team, whether the physician, pharmacists, and nurses, we should all come together so that we can build a treatment pattern that will help the average Nigerian overcome whatever disease that he has.
Prof.
Let me tell you sincerely,
Go ahead, just land on your thoughts, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to say that there are some debilitating diseases. There are some issues, people who have to regularly fill their prescription. maybe a particular brand has been prescribed, and that brand is no longer available. It is a responsibility of the pharmacist to get in touch with the physician to say, this brand you have prescribed, or this particular medicament you have, medication you have prescribed, is no longer available. There is an alternative that is as effective as the one you have, with enough data and evidence, and that would help the average Nigerian.
All right, Prof, just if you can answer this in 30 seconds as we wrap up. Clearly, the leaving of GSK and others is indicative of the fact that we don't have drug security. That's simply what this means in clear terms. It means we don't have drug security. So I'm wondering, as pharmacists, as an association, are you now thinking of maybe talking to some investors in other sectors to begin to look in the direction of pharmaceuticals so that these products, we can begin to have this level of drug security, so we don't have these shocks that we're experiencing in our economy? Just 30 seconds. This time investors, not government.
I said 2 years ago, the topic for my conference was medicine security. The industry players are willing. Thank God government says 40% of drugs should be produced at home. The policies and everything are in place. Although when government was doing that, they didn't invite the stakeholders. The industry players are willing and have the capacity to do and produce drugs that will be available. What we need, like I said, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, you will hear from the pharmaceutical sector what exactly we've been discussing with government and how we can to bring drugs down. I'm sure it's not impossible to have a zero tariff for drug products and its auxiliaries, especially the APIs, so as to bring drastically the cost of drug. For example, we are working closely with government on that.
Thank you so much for your thoughts and insight. Professor Cyril Usifo, President, Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, joined us from Abuja studios to give us a perspective on the high cost of medications in Nigeria. Thanks, Prof, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Guys, it's apparently an ongoing conversation because our people, we don't need them to be dying carelessly and helplessly. Some of these things are avoidable, which is why I asked him that question on whether it's medication or drug security, because that's what it means, which is what the petroleum sector is also doing to ensure that if the refineries are working, anything that happens, we have energy security, even if the entire world is burning, God forbid. But hey, we're going to move on with the conversation. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to move away from the issue of medication. Now, we'll head out to Nollywood, and one of what we call the successor generation will be joining us in a moment to talk about his journey, as well as explain to us what is going on in that industry that built from ground zero to where it is now, where we have record numbers in box office. Please join us again. Welcome back to the Morning Brief. You just saw the movie Come With Me, directorial debut of our next guest on the program. We talked about the successor generation of Nollywood, and he's right here with us, actor, filmmaker, and now director Baaj Adebule. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I was asking, oh, you're not a director. So yes, everybody's like, the industry is like explosive. People are just making tremendous progress. So we may have known them as actors, and now they are directors, maybe they are even executive producers and all of that. So, but the natural place to start, which we always start with our guests, is we'd like to track and curate your journey, how you stepped into this space called Nollywood.
Oh, I think I started when everything was not social media driven. It was still the old school, go for like a dozen auditions a month before you get your break kind of thing. So it's that, wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, go for an audition, we'll get back to you, which they never do.
So they should do that as far back as
what? It's a normal thing. You hardly get a no. They'll hardly tell you no. They'll say, yeah, we'll get back to you. And they don't. So you do that for a couple of months, then you get some small roles, sometimes you play extra, 1 or 2 scenes, then finally you just happen to be in the right place at the right time, you happen to pull off the role, or maybe they just happen to like you and want you to play the role, and you do your best, and
So it's more like a question of chance and opportunity.
It's a little bit of chance, but also you have to have done your own homework. You know, they're not going to obviously give you the role if you're not in one way or the other doing a good job. So yeah, it's being in the right place at the right time, but also being prepared to actually pull it off.
And speaking of tracking your journey, I was watching one of your interviews and you talked about doing engineering, doing modeling, and a couple of other things before you eventually, found home in Nollywood. So would Nollywood have been your first choice, or was just an accidental entry?
It was not even just first choice, it was only choice actually, because I needed to find where I'm supposed to be, like my purpose in life. That was pretty much what the whole doing engineering and everything was about. I was just trying things. Not in the sense of, let me find out the one I'm good at, but more of, let me find out the one that my heart is very, very tethered to, very linked to, where I feel like, yes, I'm home here. And that was the acting, because I was actually not very good, actually. But I could feel there was just this, I don't know whether it was the atmosphere, I don't know whether it was some divine thing, I don't know. But you can feel that, yes, this zone, this place, this career, this is where I'm supposed to be.
And it's not your first, the creative industry is not your first degree, by the way. You studied something else?
Yes, I studied economics actually. Yeah, I worked for a while. I worked for a year and a half. And it wasn't even a bad place. It was actually nice, but I could always feel that this is not where you're supposed to be. I just didn't know where I was supposed to be, but I know it's not here. That kind of feeling. Okay,
so talk to us about your directorial debut, Come Away With Me.
Come With Me.
Come With Me.
Yes. Come With Me, it's a crime romantic thriller. It premiered in December on Prime Video. It stars myself, Ayola, Ima Oh My God, Rekasani, Goodness Emmanuel, and a bunch of very brilliant actors. And it follows Samira. She's just a young, beautiful, naive, innocent girl who decided to go out on the nights out with her friends. And she meets this charming guy, and her friends motivate her, like, just take a chance, just bring him home with you. And it turns out that he's actually a kidnapper. And things take off from there. Let me don't give too much away.
Yeah, because I'm seeing the images from the movie, and it looks so good, and it brings us to the conversation around the quality that Nollywood is churning out now. I mean, it's just beautiful to watch. But talk to us, how challenging was this for you? Because we always see actors, once you see an actor playing a rich man role, you just imagine this guy's rich real life. They don't have challenges, everything just works out for them. But you didn't just do acting, you're now directing as well. So just how challenging was this? And I'm talking about in terms of the budget.
Budget is
number one.
In
terms of budget, casting, ensuring the story is portrayed well. It's a lot of challenges you face.
Definitely.
We just see the finished work, but talk to us about some of those challenges.
I think the only easy thing was the casting. That was the only thing that came pretty easy, because as an actor, you've worked on a bunch of projects, so you know the actors and you know how good they are. So that part was easy, but that was the only easy part. The budgeting was a huge issue, because it was my directorial debut. Yeah. So there's nothing to show that if you were to give me your money, it would be a good film.
And that's a recurring issue.
Yeah, but that's normal. You know, it's your first time. No one wants to take a chance.
People are now increasingly investing in Nollywood.
Yeah, but you would have, like now, obviously, it would be much easier for me to get an investor. But then there's no proof of work. And no one wants to do that. So it's majorly you, your savings, your family, your friends, favors. You're just going to put all that together and then use that to try and make your film. So the budgeting was pretty difficult. We had to make a lot of compromises. And most of the actors that came on board took pay cuts, actually. But the good part is that they've been my friends for like donkey years. Some of them didn't even get paid. But they're my guys, so they didn't mind.
So if that movie hits $1 billion now, you have to pay them.
I have to call them back. So I'm owing you money. No, you have to tell me, I know.
So I wanted to find out as well, are we really telling our stories from your perspective? Because when we had a conversation with the musicians, some said, when you look at the likes of Fela and the rest of them, today's music, not all of them, by the way. A couple of them is more escapist. So that's why I'm asking, for Nollywood, are we telling our stories?
I think we're doing more of that now than we were before. You know, if you've noticed, there's a lot of epics, a lot of indigenous films. Okay, I can't call it indigenous, it's in Nigeria. But more like you see very Yoruba-driven film or Igbo-driven film or Hausa film, or you see it's the storyline is more in line with what's actually going on. Like this one, actually. This one was motivated when I saw a story of a cousin setting up his cousin.
Is that a Project Fame guy?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, I completely forgot he did Project Fame. He's an actor, though.
Yeah, I know.
Is that the lady?
Yes.
Let's keep doing that, right?
Yes.
She was in UI, studying theatre arts.
Okay, I don't know her. I don't know that one. So, like this one now, was motivated from watching news, and I saw a cousin use another cousin for kidnapping, actually. But his real motive was to have him killed. But he knew that if he gets kidnapped, the police won't really do much. If it's murder, it's a bigger issue. But kidnapping is let's go and find how you pay. If the person doesn't come back, then it's cool. And it was that idea that moved me into making this film. So yes, I think we're doing more of our stories now than we did before. And it's because we've finally understood that both Nigerians in diaspora, non-Nigerians, people in the world, they want to see us. They want to hear our stories, not see us try to tell their own kind of stories. People are starting to buy into that. And I think we're doing more of that now.
You know, and this story speaks to, you know, the social issues bedeviling us today.
Yeah.
I remember Cynthia Osokogo and so many other stories of young girls who have run into the hands of kidnappers unsuspectingly, and, you know, it's potent. But let's go deep into the issues bedeviling the industry now. As far back as 2015, you know, the Nollywood industry was rated as being worth $5 billion, and that's a lot. You know, nearly 8 years ago or thereabout. Still, the challenge, according to reports, is that we're unable to rival industries like Bollywood because of limited funding that affects production quality. How do we get there? And are we close to getting there, particularly now that Nollywood has hit the 1 billion naira at the box office? So how close are we?
I don't think we're close.
We're still not close.
Yeah, I don't think we're close. And it's majorly more of it's an overarching issue as opposed to just Nollywood. The major tree is still Nigeria. Nollywood is just a branch. So there's just so much a branch can do if the entire tree isn't working properly. So there's always going to be that overarching problem. And then there's the part of, when you talk about even K-dramas or Korean movies or Bollywood or Hollywood, these industries are very, very well backed by the country. Very, very well backed, not just in funding. They are protected. I can't even shoot on that street without being harassed and Adebule was taking over my stuff. So they are very, very well protected, very well funded, very well promoted. Here in Nigeria, Nollywood is by itself. You as a filmmaker, you're by yourself. You as an actor, you're by yourself. It's really just you are the one-man army that has to make this happen. And if we are moving like that, then we're definitely not going to be able to compete with people who are working together with the people, with the government, we're all trying to make the industry work. So till we're able to get to that level, I don't really think we're able to compete.
But if you recall the days of living in bondage, you know, those old films, as we said at the beginning of the program, Nollywood was built from ground up. Without government support and the limited funding that, you know, the younger generation is clamoring for now. You know, so what difference do you think this generation can make if you refer to time back when, you know, it was built on sheer resolve? Yeah,
that's the thing. They were working on sheer resolve. Now imagine if you gave them all the other resources that those other guys get to have with the sheer resolve. In my opinion, we'll not even be talking about meeting up anymore. Because the thing is, we've had to do so much with so little. We've had to do so much under very, very terrible circumstances. Now imagine if we have a little bit more, if we have more better circumstances, we'll definitely be doing a lot better than even people who are supposed to be like up there. So I think if the country really works in that direction, then we can now start saying we're getting close or we'll get there, but it's not looking like that's where we're headed. So,
you know, some would always argue that there was some government support in the start. I mean, you had politicians or people in government funding movies, giving support, and then there's the National Films, Video and Censor Board doing some work. So there's always that debate. I don't say we did support at all, at least at all. We did some little, but that's another debate for another day. But, you know, this, I call it a pandemic of the people harassing you when you want to shoot a movie. I don't know, we've talked about this for too long. I mean, even not just for you as a movie person, even for us.
News?
I mean, you want to shoot a stand-up, you want to capture a story, and people are harassing you, and you're wondering. First, I'm actually trying to help this community. I'm trying to tell a story. Well, there are communities that are welcoming, but overall, you'll see that you can't just stop somewhere and say, I want to shoot the third mainland bridge, for example.
Someone that owns that area. So.
You get it. You just park the third mainland bridge, say, I want to shoot the water, just the water. Before you know it, there are like 3 boys around you and stuff. So it's a pandemic, obviously, and it's affecting creativity. It's affecting our output. Imagine you have to get extra security. Sometimes you have to do meetings with the community people.
Almost compulsory, actually.
Everybody.
You have to sort everybody.
Is there a way to resolve this? Because it's just, I mean, you go to other clients and you can just shoot, and it's good for the.
It's a much bigger problem because it's an issue. It's almost like a genetic problem. It's normalized already. It's not even something that you think of as something bad anymore. You expect it to happen when it's happening. So it's gotten so bad that it will have to go deeper than just the problem for Nollywood. I think it's a nationwide problem because it's an Adebule problem. It's an Omonile problem. So if we don't even go as deep as just cutting that entire movement, I don't think we'll be able to stop that.
So what would you, if you were to sit with government, so let's alleviate the conversation. If you were to sit with government, say Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu or anyone, to propose what to do with this, as you call it, Agbero and Omonile, what would you propose?
I don't think you want to stop it.
Why do you say so?
Why do you say that?
Well, they've been around with they are definitely backed by the government, that's for sure. You're definitely not going to be able to do that without the government giving go ahead. So it's like you're asking the father of a child to not allow the child do what the father has told him to do. You know what I mean? I don't know if that analogy...
Even what the child is doing is evidently wrong.
The child is just doing what the father has told him to do. So where do you want to come from to
But we've seen fathers, I'll say, will you stop that?
But it's the child that told him to do it.
It's the father
that told him to do it.
That's an indictment.
The father repents, realizes, wait a minute,
what the child is doing is favoring what the father wants. There's just no way you can...
We've heard this narrative, pardon me, Jeffrey. So are you saying it's some sort of implicit, tacit approval from government? Or
Yes.
You think it is... You guys, you have to do this, so ensure you do this to always disrupt. I don't imagine.
No, it's not like they told them disrupt anyone that is filming. Yeah. Of course not. It's just there's money involved. And once there's money involved, when you're telling them to stop, you're telling them to take money out of people's hands. We don't do that in Nigeria.
So the challenge here is the fact that it's not just that they hire, it's the fact that they are not adding value and they are taking away value.
Precisely.
Which is why it's an issue.
No, it's an issue.
Yeah.
It's definitely an issue. The only problem is the person that is people benefiting from it are not going to allow it to stop. They're not.
Wow.
So how are you going to now tell them to stop it?
Okay, it looks like no matter what we ask you in this direction, you have made up your mind.
Okay. Let me give a better explanation.
Okay. No, I understand. No,
it's your experience.
No,
That's very important.
It's your experience. No, we're just trying to say, because when we come, we try to profile solution. But I'm sure that you've experienced it so much that you told yourself, maybe not me, I'm not the guy to tell you what to do because this is a hopeless situation. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, there's no situation that is hopeless. That's one thing. But it's... okay, the reason why I'm saying the conversation won't really make any difference is because I'm trying to tell you what you already know. You know it's bad. You know it's definitely a problem. That's not even the conversation. So it's not that you do not know it's a problem. The conversation is me trying to convince you to do something about it, I assume. But how do I convince you to not collect the money that you have been collecting? Because the Agberos are going to tax everyone that is doing stuff, and the money is going to go to whoever is sending them. So who is backed by the government.
So maybe don't you think this will not necessitate the call for film villages all over the place? Because if you have a proper film village...
Yeah, I think I heard Kunle Afolayan is building one. I think another one is being built in Jos, so that would definitely help.
I think the Lagos State government is also supporting some sort of...
I know, it's
but because I've filmed in other countries. You're not always going to only film in a film village. You're going to have to go outside. You're going to film in real places, and it's not a problem. I'm not even talking about outside of Africa now. I'm even talking about Ghana, right over there. You could film. I still remember I filmed in Ghana last year. We went to film at the beach. I was looking, the way I was behaving, they were just laughing at me. Because first and foremost, we just drove into the beach. There was no gate fee, there was no parking fee, there was no tent fee. We just drove into the beach.
Unlike what we have back home, right?
I kept doing...
Baaj, calm down, everything.
It's just the amount of times that happened.
So it's like
They
going
kept
to
like, just calm down. No one is.
Okay, but Baaj,
like going to London
at
to
that
try to charge your
level,
phone
what kind of intervention do you think the association can, provide on behalf of the industry? And you have quite a number of associations. There's the Actors Guild, there's the Nigerian Theatre Practitioners. What kind of intervention can they provide in terms of engaging with government, such that there will be a wherewithal for practitioners?
Because the thing about the guild thing is still relatively new, so they don't actually have that much control over almost anybody, to be honest. And
the guild is not so new.
No, I mean like in terms of their influence on everybody. It's more.
So there are actors who are not members of the guild.
There are some.
Oh.
Are you a member of the guild?
I am. For you to even put your film on Prime Video, you have to be a member of the guild. So the thing is, their influence is not as big or as strong as you assume they would be when you talk about guilds in other countries.
Yeah.
So even if they were to have a conversation with the government, whatever they decide will not necessarily trickle down to everybody else. It will pretty much stop in some areas and it will just hang there with some particular people. So
Glad.
So we need to wind down on this point. It's usually Bukola's question, but I would ask it, and that's going personal. You're 35?
Yes, I am.
You're 35. Are you married?
I don't answer private questions on interviews.
You don't
That's
like
not
to...
true, Baaj.
It depends on it's a fun question.
You've answered a number of private questions in some of your interviews that I've watched.
I told you this is Bukola's question, so please, Bukola, take
How old are they?
Bukola,
I know.
let's just say Bukola handle him.
Not at the beginning.
Well, I saw an interview about 3 or 5 years ago. You asked whether you were in a relationship.
I know me that.
And you said yes.
Yes, I am. No, I'll tell you now. Now, it would be rude to say you're not in a relationship if you're in a relationship with someone. No, definitely, I would say I'm in a relationship, but that's usually where I end.
Okay, you don't want to answer that whether you're married or we respect that. But quick one before we
No, I need to know why.
Okay.
I think it's fair. Help us understand why. Because I saw another interview where you asked about marriage, and I think it's on your website or something like that. You were like, no, you're not married. And that was like maybe 7 years ago, so obviously you weren't married then. So is there a reason? Is it to protect those people? Is it to...
Yes, definitely.
Do you understand how tricky the industry is?
I think that was still when I just blew up. I think it was around 2016, 2017. I was living my life just like everybody else. I would post anybody, my mom, my nephew, everyone around me. And I started seeing how the internet would react to other people's personal life. They don't have any kind of respect for the people that you love, because they don't know them. All they'll do is project whatever feelings they have onto whatever you post and try and ruin it. And I didn't want that for the people I care about, because I'm the one that is in the entertainment. They are not. They live their life just like everybody else. So I made that personal decision to separate my private life and everybody in it from my career, and that's how it stayed. And it's been a good idea, especially now, seeing what is happening to so many other people. Like,
You want to mention me?
I have a number of follow-ups.
No time. Just after the show, you can ask him that. Maybe 30 seconds because our time is slowly up. Is the future of Nollywood in safe hands? Straight question.
Yes.
Why?
Well, we have a lot of young filmmakers and actors who have understood that we are competing with international people now. So the movement, the way they move with the films, the scripts, the acting is now, we are not competing here, we're competing there.
Okay.
It had better be safe because you're one of them.
Yeah, one of them. Yes, 35-year-old.
Okay. No answer to that anyway.
Absolutely. Okay. Baaj Adebule, thank you so much. Actor, filmmaker, now director, blazing the trail in his own capacity. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate you. Always checking on you whenever you have those mega projects. Don't fail to stop by the morning brief. Thank you. We'll amplify it. All right, guys. So take a quick break now. When we come back, Sheila. And of course, Libianca will be joining us as we talk about music, the Grammys, and Nigeria's at the vanguard of Afrobeat. Join us again. Welcome Welcome back to the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television. We did tell you that Sheila and Libianca are in the building, as they say it in the entertainment industry. So you just saw that particular video. Well, let's get straight to the conversation because we're itching to talk to them. Joining us on the Morning Brief, Libianca.
Good morning, good morning.
Musician, entertainer. What else should I add to your name?
Queen.
Diva?
Yeah. That's more like it.
That sounds more like it.
Yeah.
All right, and also Sheila, your description, there's a lot to you. There's a lot to you, but let's just call you an entertainment mogul. Is that fine by you? Or?
I'll take that.
Oh, you just right. Oh.
Thank you. I'll take that. Yeah.
But you're a lot behind the scene, pushing this work to make sure that everybody who we see and hear blazing the trail across the country and around the world gets to have their sound amplified as much as possible. So that's Sheila, executive in our own right. So thank you both for coming on the Morning Brief.
Thanks for having us.
Bianca, your journey has been quite. Takaido was telling me, he called my attention to the fact that you were on is it The Voice?
Yeah, The Voice, America.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
It was like 2021.
2021?
Yeah, so about like almost 3 years ago.
How far did you go in that competition?
I made it all the way to live playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when like I sang the Doja Cat song. I was like, oh yeah, this is a
This is a winning song.
Yeah. I came out that night. I was like, yeah, tonight is the night. Like I'm gonna do this.
And Libianca, the report is that you chose what's his name now, Kelly Shelton, to coach you over Ariana Grande and all the other big names. Why? That's something, right?
Yeah, I chose Blake because, like, it was also, one, it was a prayer. You know, I had to talk to God like you, like, at the end of the day, I can't make any decision on my own. Just lead me. And so he led me through strategy. Like, Ariana's team is full of, like, the high belters, and they're, like, really high in the range, and people love that. The crowd loves to hear a high note and all of that. Me, I'm a low girl, so I need to go where I'm going to stand out. I can't go where they will just kick me off the next distance. I have to be on, like, a team where I can last longer, and not only that, but where the exposure can be best on me. Like, I can make sure that I can, you know, portray my talents.
Go ahead.
It's all yours. Why are you guys so excited? Okay, Coyote.
Okay, we have so many questions.
Yes.
So I saw you performing Everything Billie Eilish's song.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And the way you went from the low to the highs, and it was like your voice was auto-tuned. So my wife and I watched the video, and we're like, this lady has to win the show. And you did win out, and our TV was in danger because we're going to stop it.
Look, when I tell you the way you were mad, me too, I was mad. That's yeah, because that morning, when I was getting up, preparing to warm up and everything, my manager was on the phone, like, girl, I had a dream. I saw confetti falling, everything. I was like, oh, I'm winning this. I know I'm winning this. God told me that I'm winning it. But that night, I got eliminated. I said, whoa, like, wow, it's okay, no problem.
This will happen.
Okay. So then over time, you know, you see, there's a reason for everything. So
Sheila, maybe we'll come to you. You know, a lot of people don't see the guys behind the scene who are really pushing the boundaries for us. And sometimes you wonder, what does it really take? Because it's easy, people want to blow. Quickly. But people like you have some kind of a kit for them to say, so get this far, you need to do this and do that. You worked with, when we saw your resume, you worked with, I don't know, maybe I'll ask you, who haven't you worked with? Because that's more like it. So how do you navigate all of this? How do you spot people to say, this is a star person? I need to work with this individual.
It depends on what I'm doing. You know, obviously my background is I'm a booking agent. That's how I started from a very young age with Star Mega Jam and inviting all the superstars that came to Nigeria back in the days. I was a teenager at that time. And we started from Shaggy to everybody, to Usher. You know, we just started doing Mega Jam. And then, so if I'm working as a booking agent, it's really what the country or the brand wants that we go and book. But when I'm working as Sheila or the radio personality, it's really about the music. It's about what I hear. It's about the gift that I think God has given me where I can spot a hit or a miss. you know, and with radio, then I just use that to drive me. And when I feel strongly about an artist, I just keep pushing. We put it on rotational play because in the US, it's kind of hard. They will play the same song over and over again, and it gets frustrating. But with us in Afro Zones, which is the only Afrobeat show in the US that's nationally syndicated, we break new music. So they be playing Libianca, and we played Libianca a year ago. And then iHeart is just waking up, and I'm like, okay, well
Good
done.
morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Where were you?
Where were you?
They keep playing Rema's Calm Down. I'm sure even Rema is like, stop. You know what I mean? You know, and then I'm thinking like Rema has more songs, you know, Libianca has more songs. There's a lot more to push it out for the industry to keep striving and growing. And I think that's my call. That's what I've been doing. And when I joined the Grammys, you know, it was like, okay, all right, big boys now, Grammy Awards, okay, you know, because of course I'm part of the Mobile Awards in London. So when I joined the Grammys, it was like, okay, we gotta keep pushing Afrobeats. We gotta be on the main stage. We gotta perform on the main stage. Shout out to Burna, performing February 4th on the main stage in LA, you know. So we just keep pushing. I just keep pushing. That's all I keep doing. And I have a strong team behind me, and trust me, people paved the way for me. I am just doing my part to just take us to the next level and just keep my legacy going.
So how challenging is it, because you talked about they coming late to the party, how challenging is it to be that gateway in an environment that maybe that's not the style of music? Thank God we have what we have today, you know, in terms of Afrobeat.
Yes. How challenging? I mean, to be honest with you, at first it was really hostile. Sorry, America, it was. As in when I used to do my radio show in Chicago on Power 92, thank you to Power 92 for giving us a spot, they had to walk me to my car after my show.
Whoa.
I had people phoning the station saying, take this crap off the air. What are you playing, you Africans and all that? You know, not in a bad way, it's just really, you don't know. It's really ignorance, right? Because it was all about trap at that time. But I knew this music was good. I was coming from England. I grew up in England. I was born in Lagos. Come on now, Surulere. It's in my blood.
Oh, shit.
So I knew what I was pushing was strong. I knew like just having a DJ played every now and then or one radio show play 1 or 2 songs wasn't going to cut it. I knew we had to have a full-blown Afrobeat show. So we kept pushing, and thank God for the station. They believed in the dream and they kept us on, and now they can't get enough of me.
You know, I told you we're going to have some, you know, female energy in the room today.
That's right.
So let's talk about the acceptability of Afrobeat, particularly in the West. You know, flowing from the story that you've just shared, powerful one. What's it like beyond the African American, African British society? You know, beyond those clubs where you find predominantly Africans, is it being accepted across cultural divides as well in these Western communities?
The answer is in 2 phases, yeah. I'll first say yes, because shout out to all the guys that are selling out stadiums. Libianca has a show, people gonna pack out. They're gonna come for Libby. They're gonna come see her. You know, she's gonna sell it out. You know, shout out to Burna, who'll be doing 80,000, David, Wiz, I don't want to just leave anyone's name out because I don't want to offend any of my people, because we're one family and we stick together. You know, we stick together. But we're selling out arenas now. You know, so that shows the music is being accepted. It just shows the genre's gone to another level. It just shows that we're following the trajectory of hip hop. You know, it shows that we're growing and it's being accepted. However, on the radio side, I'll be very honest with you, I still have problems getting some PDs, you know, program directors to take Afro Zones on their shows. They're still worried. They're still thinking, are we a phase? Are we going to be like dance hall? You know how it is? Like, there was a time dance hall was so everywhere. And then all of a sudden, like, what happened to dance hall? Dance hall's still there. It's fused into Afro beats, you know, but we don't want that to happen. We want Afro beats to really keep going the way hip hop is going. So it's 2 phase really. So you still have the production, the PDs who don't want to really play it on radio that much, or they will feel safe. I'm gonna play Essence till the Essence rolls off. While Thames has moved on to other things. I'm gonna play people. Libianca has got tons and tons of songs, you know, that she has right now. Congrats to her. She also got nominated for the Brit Awards. And it was announced yesterday.
Congratulations, Libianca.
So I think it's only fair to come to Libby.
Yeah. No, that's me, Libby.
That's you, right? So Libianca is I was going to sneak in, you know. But let's talk about you. There's so much history behind you as well. You're Cameroonian American. Am I correct?
Yes.
It's also Nigeria.
A lot of people.
I know, because our accents are similar.
You actually sound Nigerian right now.
Yeah.
Because our accents are similar. Like if you go to Cameroon, like I think with the pidgin you'll be able to hear like a little bit of the differences, but when we're speaking English,
I hear the Cameroonian tone. I can identify it anyway, but I'll tell you the backstory afterwards.
So speak to us. You were in Ghana recently. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Now you have to answer this question, which you probably answered already.
Please let it not be jollof question.
Cameroonian jollof, Ghanaian jollof, Nigerian jollof. I'm sure you've tasted all of them.
Yes.
and let's be very clear, you're in Nigeria.
You're in Nigeria. No pressure.
Look,
you're in Nigeria.
I've learned that the best thing to do is to mind your business. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this one. No.
So wait, you don't like Nigerian jollof?
Everything is special. Everything is special. Everything.
You got to give us the accent. Everything is special.
Everything is good. Like
it's okay. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Don't get me in trouble.
We love our jollof. But we're gonna play against Cameroon on Saturday. Nigeria, Cameroon.
Sheila
I'm gonna get you one way or the
Sheila
other.
versus Libianca, right?
We'll talk about your career, what you're doing next, but I just wanted to take this out of the way. We're playing against Cameroon on Saturday, round of 16. You're supporting us, right?
This is what I think. I think God is in control.
Thank you, Libianca.
All right. But let's talk about what you're working on. People, over 250 million views on YouTube and counting.
Yeah.
Again, when I saw that video, I was like, thank goodness. This is just a perfect way to celebrate the Libianca we thought was going to win The Voice America. So maybe talk us through that song, the experience that made you sing that song, and then we'll talk about your new project, because I know you're working on big things.
So off of listening to it, you can understand that, I'm talking about like experience in depression, in, mental health, and all of it happened in real time. So the night before I posted it was the night that I recorded it. So mind you, I am depressed during this whole time.
Fresh.
Yes, it was very fresh. So with everything going on, it's like, oh my gosh, like biggest dreams coming true, things are happening, like things are finally moving really quickly. And then it didn't take away the fact I was still depressed, right? So I think the song on its own, my job is to create, and the songs, they do what they do. And people was like, I don't know, I think it stepped out in its own way to show that we are all human beings. Like in Afrobeats, yes, like we show how strong we are. We talk about our resilience. We talk about, happiness. We talk about a lot of things, but we can also talk about these things. We can talk about the things that, sometimes it's not really comfortable to like address on like a Sunday morning or something. So I don't know, the song just did what it did for everyone, and I'm very appreciative that at least it could touch at least one person in the world.
Well, almost 1 billion people with the streams and video watching. So what are you working on now? I've seen some videos on your social media.
Yes.
I've seen some work you're doing, and I'm like, hey, Libianca is coming up another 1 billion views. Music. So walk us through. A lot of people will also want to know, what are you doing in Nigeria? So maybe there's some sort of intersection with that and what you're working on next.
So for one, I'm here because this is one of like the hubs where like I have a lot of fans, and it's only right to come sometimes and show that, hey guys, I'm here, I love you guys.
First time in Nigeria.
You know what I mean? It's my first time ever. It's surprising too, because Cameroon is like a neighbor.
This is your first time in Nigeria?
Yes, my first time ever.
Really?
Yes.
Welcome.
And your song has been on rotation across what?
Thank you so much. The traffic is something else.
Wow.
I really, traffic is really, really hot. But other than that, I've been enjoying myself. But overall, I'm not only here to, pay homage, but I'm here with my girl. So I'm here with my girl. We're here to have a good time and just show what we're about. That's it.
All right, before we quickly go to, Jeffrey, before we go to Sheila, relatedly, and if you can do this in a very short time.
Yes.
Either it's people or angel and demon or walk away. It looks like your stories come from a deep place of personal experience.
Yes.
Can you share some of that with us?
Yes. So the EP that I just dropped, Angel Demon is one of the songs in there that is like the hardest to listen because it can trigger like things that people have experienced before, because, you know, I'm talking from experience. And it's not always easy to write from your experiences because you have to face yourself. Like, I have to be able to accept even things about myself that I don't want to see. I have to do that in, like, to be able to talk about it for somebody to relate to it. So the EP is like a whole encapsulation of so many things that I've experienced. I'm like, you know what, I just want to release this, get it off my chest. I never spoke to anybody about these things, so I'm just going to use the music, talk about it, release it, and move on. So while all of that is going on, I'm in the process of creating all the music for my album. So while, you know, that drop is going on, I'm promoting and creating, and it's a fun experience so far.
All right, Sheila, let's come to you. Let's head to the Grammys. Big shout out to Nigerians for, you know, blazing the trail and all over the place. Ashake, David Doe, Burna Boy, Arista, and of course Tiger on that particular category. But when that announcement was made in Best African Music Performance, it came with mixed feelings for a lot of people. Some would say, oh, finally they gave us a space. Others are saying, look, our music is so big right now, don't box us into one space, into one category. We should be talking record of the year, song of the year, album of the year, not just box us, okay, Africans, line up this way, which is what, I don't know what your reaction is, because you're with the Grammys.
I mean, I see it totally different, because I had the same conversation with an artist, you know, one of our major artists, and when it was announced around May, you know, before they agreed to come to Nigeria to actually announce it, you know, they're coming in tomorrow, and have this big party on Friday. I'll talk about that one later, but let's go back to when it was first announced. I had a conversation with an artist, and they said the same thing, like, look at me now, I'm big, why am I in a box? And my answer was very simple. First and foremost, Africa is the biggest continent. It should be an honor to be a best African anything. That's one. Let's not even forget the first world. They say we're third world, but no, we were the first world. Even Egypt, all, you know what I mean? It started with Africa, right? So being the best African as a category, to me, is an honor in its own right. You got to be somewhere. However, there are other categories as well at the Grammys. Say, for example, you have, let's use Burna again, right? Because he has 4 nominations, but it's not only Best African. You know, he has other categories within the Grammys. So he's even best, I think, hip-hop or something. He's in hip-hop. Hello. But you know, but people don't know Burna used to rap from back in the days in South Africa when he was there as a kid and all that. So we're not in a box. It just gives others an opportunity. Look at it this way. A lot of the artists that are now nominated this year, do you think they would have actually been nominated for the Grammys so soon in their careers? Let's be honest. The answer is no. Because we were all under best global performance. The globe is big. There's someone in Lebanon, Russia, Egypt. I can go on, Romania. You know what I mean? In fact, no, what am I talking about? Let's give it to Yusundo, Miriam Makeba. Let's give it to Angela Kijo. Let's give it to all these guys. And then the young guys are coming and they're so fresh. And they're wondering who's going to nominate me.
Sheila, another argument could be that, like in gospel category, where we have from 51 to 55, 5 categories, some of them are saying the beginner, given the fact that Afrobeat has exploded the way it has, maybe the beginning shouldn't just be one category of best African music performance. Maybe we could have had like 4 or 5 categories, separate African music as much as possible.
At the Grammys.
That's what I'm trying to say.
How? No. Because to be honest, say for example, even before the Grammys did this, you know, I'm glad they did. You know, Mobile was the first one. The Mobile Awards in London, if you guys know the musical Black Origin, Mobile was the first to have the Best African Act category. Then I think Billboards, I think MTV, of course, and all the others, they now have this category. It's really music from that continent. It's really, because if not, how would we be recognized? This Best Latina. Latinos are not complaining, and I think they even have more population than we do. You know what I mean? However, let's say Bad Bunny now, for example. He could be nominated for Best Latina, but he could also be nominated for Best R&B. So the sound is different. Thames isn't on the Best African. You know what I mean? The one she won was with Drake and with Future, because of the voice and what she did with that particular song. I just feel like I just want to be called to a room. I want to be on a table, because then their money is triple, quadruple. You know what I mean? Like, if once they get that Grammy nod, You know, most of the award nods, like now, if anybody calls me now for Libianca, I'm sorry for you. I'll tell you about the Brit Awards. I'll tell you about the BET. I'll tell you about all the gongs that she's picked up. So award shows give some kind of prestige to the talent. And trust me, whether they want to call it best African, best whatever it is, it's just we're being called to the table. The world is so big, and it's our style of music. So for me, I should think we should all take it as an honor. Because it doesn't just put us in that box.
But Sheila, let's be honest. In the coming years, won't the introduction of this category restrict African acts to just that category for nomination?
Are we going to ever be record of the year, album of the year, song of the year, new artist of the year?
Yes, I just gave you an example.
As an artist, not being featured.
No.
Libianca being in that category.
It is very possible, because that's why the Grammys has the Black Music Collective. The Black Music Collective was formed in the Grammys to make sure that Black people are heard, are seen, and can perform. Remember the year that, people forget this, that I'll give this shout out to Wiz. Remember with the year he told BET he wasn't going to come because he was sick and tired of, they don't let us perform on the main stage. And the year after that, David won, and David was on the main stage, you know? So it's growing, and we're not in that box. Like I give you an example, Burna has 4 nominations. So it adds more. So now tomorrow, I don't know, give me Victoria, give me a young artist.
But within the Black African Music Collective, you still have the Jay-Z's of this world, you still have the core African American performers. So that's competition.
No, we're all black now. How's the competition? No, we're all black. It's how will I put it? It's like how African Americans sometimes want to separate themselves from Africans. I think it's such a crazy thing. We're all black. We're all from Africa. It just happened that slave trade happened, and some of us moved there, and some of us were here, but we're all still slaves. Even us that were here, we're still being enslaved by our own people. You know what I mean? So it's still the same thing.
That's a very important conversation, and I like the fact that this is going beyond music.
Right.
Music can be a tool, really, for awareness, governance, and the rest. And for what it's worth, the African population is way more than the Latin America and Caribbean population.
Yes, let's fix that.
1.4 billion compared to 600 million. But absolutely, the point you made is important. You're saying that let's progress from here. We're not where we used to be. We're doing great right now, and we'll do better as the days go by. But the question then would naturally be, are we getting the appropriate piece of the pie? Some say we're not getting enough. Some say, you know what, let's just bake our own pie. Right, let's just open our own bakery and make our own pie. So I wonder how you view that conversation, because we know how much money is made from Afrobeats, the entertainment industry, you know, collectively, and we know what comes to the artists, not to talk of the producers and the rest. You see those figures. Do you think we're doing? Is the cup how full?
Is Libianca making enough money?
Thank you very much. You know what? Is Libianca making enough money? I think let's just bring it home, because it's a very important part of the conversation.
Okay, I mean, I'll let Lib speak about the money part for Libianca, but for the industry part, you know, no money's ever enough, right? You know, they say, like Kanye says, you know, you sleep when you die, right? You keep working, you keep hustling, you keep going, you keep doing those deals, you know. I really think it's the individuals. You have to sign the right deals. The mistake the artists are making is they don't sign the right deals. They get deceived with the, here's a car, here's a Maybach, here's a flat, here's a this. It's all furnished for you. Labels giving that to you. Then they are now enslaved to the label. You have to earn, and you won't sleep till you pay them back their money and some. The record label industry is slavery, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry guys, but it's true. They are, you know, and that's why in today's world, I thank God for social media, thank God for digitalization and everything else. Thank God for companies like United Masters, who are teaching us to have our own masters, you know, and you know, who are teaching us how to distribute individually and not depend only on the labels. So your poverty level or your growth level is really on you and the deals that you sign, because the deals are out there. There's some smart Afrobeat artists today that have refused to go abroad. They've kept it here.
And they're making
it here, and they're doing deals here. There's a label here in Nigeria that, you know, I know another US label came here and offered them about some 30-40 million or something to be a part of it. So there are deals happening, bro. It's just that you need to control your own destiny. Do not sign your soul to the devil. You do take your time, believe in your talent, like what Libianca is doing. Just be careful what you sign.
We need to talk about why you're in Nigeria.
Yes. Before we forget that, Libianca is going to sing for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we just hear that voice before we go.
Don't worry.
And in addition to that, Sheila, since you can recognize a hit from a miss, within that category, who's taking the Afro Performer Award home? So while you're answering all of that, please do that as well.
Stay safe.
No,
Really?
This is a very simple answer. The Lord I serve, the God Almighty, Allah, God, will choose the winner on that day.
Amen.
So, why are you in Nigeria, by the way? He was asking that.
We're in Nigeria. Shout out to Nigerian Breweries. Shout out to Heineken. We're in Nigeria because we're here for the Afrozones pre-Grammy party. Part of the things that Afrozones, the radio show that I work on, started doing was having this industry parties, bridging the gap. You know, we're here to celebrate the launch of this category. I mean, we're here last year and we're here again this year because you can only say first for the very first time. And it's taken Grammy 66 years for them to, trust me, it takes about 10 or 15 years to create a category at the Grammys. We did it in far less.
All right,
with me, so that's a big deal.
Let's come to Libianca. 2 questions, because I have a mic. I know what this means. We came ready. We came prepared for you.
Oh my
So I know you sing from a deep place, but what excites you?
What excites me?
But while you're doing that, hold the mic. so you forget. That's the idea. Hold the mic.
It actually fits.
Yeah.
You're very funny.
What excites Libianca?
This may sound very boring, but books and experiencing life. I love to read. I love to read. I get some of my inspiration for my songs from books.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What are you reading now?
It's this book called The Little Sister, and it is like a psychological suspense book. Yeah.
All right. So it's been quite a ride. Sheila Libianca, of course. Before we sign off, and you just, I don't know what you want. The mic is in your hands. Choose with it what thou want us to do. That's King James for those who do Bible. All right.
So what do you want to hear, people?
Yeah.
Should we hear people?
Let's do this. Okay. I want to teach you a song. Okay. It's our song. Then you can do what you want to do.
Okay.
So the song goes, Ishe
Olúwa kò lè bàjẹ́ o. Iṣẹ́ Olúwa kò lè bàjẹ́. Where's our keyboardist?
It's okay. She's a keyboardist.
All right, let's go.
I forgot the rest of it.
So it's just twice.
Okay.
Oh, see the goosebumps.
Before we go, though, we want you guys to come out to the Grammy party, so we really hope we get to see
please
Absolutely.
Please do.
January 26th.
Yes. Absolutely.
Please, Heineken, so please come out.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Libianca.
You gotta do something for us.
Sheila,
close the show.
We're gonna sign. Hold on. We're gonna close the show, and then you sing.
You sing us out.
We'll close the show, and then you sing us out.
Guess what? All of that you guys want and more is at the pre-Grammy party.
Sharp
Not just.
As in, like the whole, like I'm talking full-on entertainment, full-on show. You get to see me.
Just give us an 30 seconds outro. Would that be too much to ask? 30 seconds outro.
Goodbye, the morning brief entertainment. Thank you for having me.
The Nigerian in Libianca just came out. Pum pum.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Libianca, superstar singer, right there in Nigeria, the first time. Thank you for coming to the country, and we hope that you have the best of time whilst you're here. Sheila the money mover.
Yeah.
How far?
The Afrozone queen.
How far?
The Surulere girl. From Surulere to Arizona.
To
Chicago.
Thank you so much for coming on the program.
For having us, really appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's it on the show. Thank you so much for your time, and of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo.
Thank you for watching. Join us again, same time tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.
I'm Kaya. Let's have a great day. Goodbye.